Fast Lawyer VR Reviews. For sexy VR reviews, hit the subscribe button. Hello, I'm Fast Lawyer. Today we are going to review Dead Second VR, a game released on the Steam Store October 14th, 2022. It officially supports all the major VR headsets. It normally retails for $20. It's on a release sale 15% off. I bought it at that price and I tested it out on the MetaQuest 2 using link cable. This is a PCVR review. Dead Second VR is an arcade action cover shooter. You could also call it an on-rails gallery shooter. Basically, you teleport from spot to spot and you can move within your room scale to get in and out of cover while you shoot lots of bad guys. Or at least I assume they are bad guys. You're not really told. There really is no story here. There are 8 total levels. There's easy, medium, and hard difficulty. It took me about an hour to complete the game on easy difficulty. You do have to start on easy to unlock normal. You do have to beat normal difficulty to unlock the hard difficulty. There are several weapons to unlock, along with weapon skins and gloves, and there's achievements where you get extra money so you can buy those cosmetics or upgrades. Weapon handling here is a bit of a mixed bag. While you are able to two-hand the handgun, for example, it doesn't really help you in any way, so you might as well just one-hand it. You do have the option in the settings to do either auto reloads or manual reloads. So with auto reloads, all you have to do is bring your weapon down and it'll reload after a couple of seconds depending on the weapon. With the manual reloads, you'll have to figure out how to do it, but generally you push your joystick down and it'll release the ammo magazine. Then you'll grab a new one from your shoulder and put it in the chamber, and you might also have to recharge the weapon, just depending on the weapon type. Dead Second is running on the Unity engine. On my RTX 3080, I was getting a steady 90 frames per second with pixel density set at 1.5. The main difference between the Quest version and PCVR are the real-time shadows, along with the higher resolution, but it's basically the same texture, so graphically there won't be that big of a noticeable difference. I did not experience any serious issues or bugs. You do have smooth and snap turning available. You can choose the degree of turn along with how fast you turn. It is possible to play this game seated, but it'll be much more difficult because this is a cover shooter. It's much easier if you can stand up and move around to get around cover. So I do recommend room scale, but it is technically possible to play this game seated if you're patient and realize you're making the game a whole lot more difficult for yourself. You can grab the weapons from either your left hand or right hand, and you can also dual wield. So now that I covered a lot of the technical details about the game, what are my thoughts about Dead Second? Do I recommend it? Well, yes I do, but it's a very tepid recommendation. I have seen some reviews on the Steam store that compare Dead Second to Crisis Brigade, and I have to say that I don't agree that Dead Second is better than Crisis Brigade. I just don't see how anyone can honestly say that. This is an inferior version of Crisis Brigade. Now, before I get into all the problems that I had with Dead Second, I do want to mention that there were a few things that I did like about this game, where I do think it's even better than Crisis Brigade. One thing that I liked about this game is that it is very accessible. So this has different difficulty levels, it has different weapons, so you can easily make this game as easy or as difficult as you want. As you know, with Crisis Brigade, it's just a challenging game that just gets a whole lot tougher as you go along. Not a lot of people have the skill to be able to beat the game, so a lot of that game is just dying over and over and over again until you get a nice run and you're able to beat the level, if you're able to at all. Dead Second, on the other hand, has a lot of assists for people. You start off with the easy difficulty. I was able to complete the game without dying once on easy, and then you also get weapon upgrades, so using the easy on normal difficulty makes it just as easy as the easy levels. Using more powerful handgun makes it easier. Using the auto reloads makes it easier than using the manual reloads. So this game is definitely perfect for casuals. If you like shooters but you find some of them too difficult and you don't enjoy that, this might be the perfect cover shooter for you. However, if you're a shooting pro, if you thought Crisis Brigade was easy, then you're definitely gonna hate this game because it is not difficult at all. And what I found is that as I was progressing within the levels, as I went from level 1 to level 8, it didn't really increase in difficulty all that much. I think I noticed more enemies, but that was really the only increase in difficulty. So part of the problem I did have with the game is just the lack of variety. The levels all look different, but they all felt exactly the same. I didn't really notice any progression in challenge. There were no new enemy types to be aware of. There were no new challenges. There were no boss fights. There weren't like snipers or new classes for you to be worried about. There were no like grenades or anything for you to really worry about. You can stay behind cover and eventually just the enemies will get out of cover and they'll make themselves available for you to shoot. So enemies themselves will get out of cover so you can shoot them and you can stay hidden behind cover, and usually almost always, if you're just patient enough, you'll be fine. When I initially started playing Dead Second, I did enjoy it. I thought, wow, this is a pretty nice, fun arcade cover shooter. But as I did more than one level, I started seeing that it was just basically more of the same, and there just wasn't any variety at all. Another problem is the cover system here. Sometimes there were just cardboard boxes in the way, and that was enough to stop the shooting. So you couldn't get enemies. You had to shoot around the cardboard boxes because your ballistics did absolutely nothing to them. And what's odd about that is that there are levels with glass and your ballistics are able to break glass, and that's fun, but that seems to be the only object, the only material that your bullets will break through. Everything else your bullets just cannot get through, and you'll have to find a line of sight. Now you can move from cover to cover within the action scene, and enemies will be slow to react to your new position. You're also able to bounce bullets off walls, and you can get at some enemies this way. Now the spatial audio here was also a mixed bag. I could tell exactly where fans were blowing by the sound, but I could never tell where enemies were coming from or where a shot came from. So the spatial audio definitely needs a lot of work here. I don't think the music playing while you're shooting is a good idea. You can lower it. I lowered mine. I probably should have lowered it even more because it's just a sound you don't want while you're trying to find out where enemies are shooting from. I also thought the weapon scales for this game were off, especially the Uzi. It seemed to be too big for your hands and for the world. It gave an odd effect, making the game look even more unrealistic. So overall, I can only give this game a tepid recommendation. I think this game is perfect for casual gamers or people who are just not very skilled at shooting games. This might be the perfect cover shooter for you. It's easy to get into. The upgraded weapons make this game a lot easier, so you can even try the harder difficulties, but there is just an overall lack of variety, and I did have fun the first 2 or 3 levels, but then it all was just too much of the same, and I did not enjoy playing through the campaign. I do think this game is overpriced for what it is, for the quality and quantity of the content, and like I said, it took me only about an hour to beat the game on easy, and I did halfway through normal before deciding to give up because I just wasn't having fun. So if to rate this, I would give it a 6 out of 10. Like I said, just a very tepid recommendation. Anyways, I'm Fast Lawyer. If you enjoyed my review, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, have a wonderful day. Goodbye.